Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Or good evening. You've got Will here from the decision side. Thanks for joining. As always, you guys can use, if you want to ask a question, this is our lunch and learn. You can ask a question using the raise hand function. We'll unmute you. You can ask in the Q&A or just go ahead and type your message out in chat. Either way, we will attempt to answer your question. And just as a reminder that next week, we're doing in-person training at our headquarters in Virginia Beach from this December 6th through the 8th with a bunch of really cool introductory and advanced topics. So I will be here. Here we go. Is there a way to make a repeater container grow when repeater instance is added, not scroll? There might be with simple forms. With the traditional form or the legacy form designer, there is not. I think we could quickly confirm if that's true with simple forms. Let's see here. Unfortunately, with our legacy form designer, it doesn't have any concept of, I'm gonna put this in the chat for everyone. It doesn't have any concept of the size of the thing that it's built in. So let's go ahead and create a flow here. And we're gonna fetch entity step and we'll fetch accounts. Then we're gonna put a form here and we'll pick or create a new simple form. And I'm going to put a repeater. Here's our data repeater. Now my data repeater, I'll create a new one. Simple form repeater. And what's the right, I'll put a list. Some kind of list in here. And why don't we do an object? Can I pass it? I'm gonna have to create a custom object to get this to work right. So here's a list and the type will be string. List of items. Actually, I guess I need to attach this to a type. Do I have a type that has a list inside of it by default? Don't, let me create one really quick. Just a moment here. So let me create a flow structure really quickly. Is a simple form test. And in this, I'm going to put a list. Flow, and I can get rid of form and to my repeater. Find my repeater to my type, which I'll search for simple form test. Okay, and then my list, I will pick from data. This will be string list. Selected. List of items. I think that will be fine. Save this. Name is required. So this is list of data repeater. Now here, I'm going to do build array and build data. String list, I'll do constant. I'll do A, C, D, E, I. And I'll add another one below it. Data, do constant. And this will be A, B, C. The others null for now. Oh, awesome. Look at that. And so that repeater does grow with the form itself. Now, if I put this in a stack, I think I can get the default simple form to grow as well. So whoever anonymous attendee is, looks like you can if you're using simple forms. Now, simple forms are something that were introduced in V7. They started off kind of feature slim. I'm working on version 8.7 right now. So you can do this in the most current version of the product. You may I'm not sure exactly when repeaters got added to simple forms between V7, 7.0 and 8.7. But yes, data repeaters on simple forms do grow and shrink based on the size of the content. They don't with Legacy Form Designer. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions about that in the chat or in the QA. And here's a question from Ray. Can you confirm that I'll be able to compare newly returned information to existing stored information? We will be getting name and address information from one form. There are several other forms which will also contain the same information. When the first form is filled in, we will write to the data structure. As the other forms come in, I want to compare these results to the saved data. If it's different, we will need to ask for a corrected copy. Yeah, you can, yes, you could always like use fetch steps of some sort, depending on how, where your data might be saved at, to fetch a record. And then, let's assume on a form you have like a 2 string fields, right? Maybe like, first name and last name, right? And then you're gonna have a user enter that information in. You could run a validation on that form, like using an active form flow, or if you're on a pre V7.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that form is a PDF form. Sorry, that's where my question.
You're getting the data from the PDF?
Correct.
So I know that we have a good, they're using OCR, any kind of other technology to get the content of the PDF available?
It's going to be, the PDF will be sent from decisions using fields, and it's going to go through eSign vendor. And then when it comes back, we'll read in the responses from certain fields. And I just want to make sure that they match each other. I know I have no way to correct check and see if it's your actual address. I just want to make sure they're all typed the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you absolutely can, right? You could, how are you planning, what steps are you using to get the data out of the PDF today?
None, because we haven't started yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure we can do that very well.
Really?
We can put data into PDFs.
Mm-hmm.
I
thought there
know.
was like a get something or another from
There's
PDFs.
a get PDF form fields, but that gives you the names of the fields.
Yeah, I want the stuff in it. And I thought we've done that before in decisions. But I didn't do it, so I don't know what steps you used.
There's set. Set fields dynamic. Get PDF form fields, get PDF form field names. Yeah, PDF fields definition, that's PDF form field names. Yeah, I don't know how to, I mean, there might be something like data files. So convert document, convert from PDF to, yeah, okay. It doesn't, to Excel. I don't know how that works. You might try with the convert document step and see, though I don't know that I would trust that.
Well, I mean, okay, the step that's going to pull the data back is the least of my worries, because someone found something that did it. Because we've had a sample that's done that before.
Oh.
So that part I get. What I want to make sure is once we pull it out, if I misspell my own name, can it tell me that the name that's already in the data structure is not the same as the name it pulled back on the form?
Yeah. So what you want to do is something like, imagine you've got a step here, right? Oops, crap. That is giving you a bunch of data, right? And I'll just use this create data step, right?
Okay,
And I'll say, and you've got like, it gives me this first name and this last name from this PDF. So I'd love to know more about that. But you could say, like, let's say I was fetching an account here just because those are the properties I just added. And I was going to say fetch an account where the first name equals, and then I can pass in that first name value. And you could do this for all the properties. You could do this for property by property if you wanted to have a lower level of detail. But then you get two results, right? So if you get a result, hey, then you know the first name is typed in correctly because you fetched the record. Right? If you get no results, then either there's no record at all or it's been mistyped, and you could handle that.
okay,
And yeah, so you because you can deal with results and no results paths, you can definitely do that validation post, PDF upload.
okay. And someone put in the chat that it might need SDK, and that's possible. Maybe the person who did it with SDK. I don't know how they did it. They got that part to work. Now it's
Okay.
up to me to figure out how to make sure that it's consistent, that if the name appears 12 times, it's spelled the same way all 12 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you absolutely can do that. Like you could there's a brute force way and maybe more clever ways, but you can definitely, because you can return, you have like a step like fetch entities, or even other steps that might not have it, that have like output for no data return. Sometimes under this outcome you'll have
So I sent something to Caitlin, as you suggested many weeks ago, about my data structure for this.
mm-hmm.
Is this comparison something that I should mention I need to do in the structure?
This comparisons, I'm not sure I understand the question exactly.
So, okay, because of course you didn't memorize it because you've thought of other things since then. So for my project,
Yeah.
I need a case entity, and then I
Mm-hmm.
need several data structures under them, one of which is going to be people, and it'll have all the names and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I need to make sure, because just because you say Will Pedersen, there could be a William Pedersen who's on a different account, in which case it is not spelled wrong because it's a different person, or so do you think that's something that's worth mentioning when we talk about how to set up the data structure? That I will need to do this multi-level look back thing.
Not necessarily, it's more of just a question of what do you need to keep in mind when you're fetching that thing.
Okay.
And then, like if you're going to let the decision, if you're going to embed it as a property, like a list of a property and decisions, versus you're going to have it be like you're going to manage that relationship manually, it just changes how you might fetch it. Some of the details about fetching it, but that doesn't make a significant difference from this perspective. There's always going to be an ID. So like the first, you'd always like you're going to fetch from the people table, right? But in that people table, you're going to have like the case ID that it's related to in some way, right?
Yes.
So these people are
That's
part
the
of
plan.
case XYZ. So as long as you're fetching by case XYZ plus say first and last name, well then you won't care if there's two Will Pedersens, because you really only care if there's a Will Pedersen for the current case that you care about.
Gotcha.
Right. So you can account for that in your flow very, very easily.
Perfect. All right. That's what I needed. Thank you.
Yeah. How to pause a flow for 200 milliseconds? I don't think we give you millisecond level control on any of the pause steps. Yeah, the lowest that any of our default steps are going to go are going to be into seconds. What's the use case? Why do you need to pause for 200 milliseconds would be my, like, what do you need to pause for 200 milliseconds for? Are you like, you shouldn't need to pause. So what's the necessity of pausing? But no, right now, the lowest you can go is going to be like a single second on like a pause or a delay step currently, given only if because our time span editor doesn't give you millisecond level control. Now, theoretically, you could build up a time span object maybe yourself. I've never tried to do that and pass it in. I wouldn't trust anything that's in milliseconds, though. It's not really meant for that, I guess. It's such a short duration. You shouldn't really need to do that. But I would say no, you can't. For anything below a second, it looks like, given the restrictions in that. We should be able to create time span with milliseconds or ticks. Yeah, if you can build up a time span object independently of our editor, I'm sure you can. I don't know how to do that. I also don't understand why you would need to. That's a question I'd love to talk about. There's a time span. Would you Data Explorer X milliseconds is a double. So theoretically, you could use change value, like new milliseconds here. Change this type to double. Set this to 200. And could I do change value on ASDF? No, I can't. Yeah, I don't know that we give you any way in the designer to do this today. Yeah, I don't think you can. It doesn't look like you can set it. You're right. So I don't think we can currently do this. What other questions do we have today? Anybody else have any other questions? Hey, anybody got anything else today? Okay, you can close at 12:30 here, assuming there's nothing else. Sort of last call, give go ahead and call it a day. Alrighty. Okay, well, if that's everything, then I will be back same time tomorrow. Appreciate everyone joining. Oh, here we go. Is there a way to restart services in Docker? Is the question how to restart? No, not from the portal. No, for sure. Normally, the way we've seen our customers using containers would be to just recycle the whole container, would be to just destroy it and rebuild it if they need to restart. I haven't yet seen anyone try to actually restart the service on a running container. So what we've really been doing is kind of like leaning into the ephemeralness of the container and just restarting the whole container. So not actually messing with any of the running services on it. All right. Anything else? VA. The VA training is not online. We are going to, not sure if we are likely going to post the masterclass recordings online, or definitely we are going to convert them into we're going to convert them into proper classes and post those online. But right now, no, it is not. It won't be online at all. It is all in person. We are recording the masterclass lectures though, so that we can make them more broadly available, but it won't be temporaneous. But yeah, that initial training, you'd be better served if you're asking about initial training, with getting signed up for our self-paced online training class. You can email training@decisions.com and they can get you signed up for that, or you can register through the site directly at decisions.com/training. Yeah, and then go through that class if you're needing the introductory trained, which anonymous attendee, I'm assuming you don't need. But the masterclass stuff, which are the more interesting topics, we do have a plan to get them posted online. We're not sure of the date and time though. Okay. Anybody? Anything else from anyone? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon, great evening, or great morning, I guess. And we will see you same time tomorrow.
As well.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.